Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the FitTown show. This is Coach Austin. I'm here with Coach Tony, and today we're going to talk about Tony's new book, The Spectrum Mindset. I kind of want to kick this podcast off and just kind of give my thoughts and feedback on the book, and then I'm really going to kick it over to Tony. Our goal today is obviously talk about the book, but how this book applies to the industry that we're in, which is the fitness industry. Yeah, I finished the book probably about a week ago now, but I've been obviously going back and I guess rereading some of the parts of the book. One, to get ready for this podcast, but two, there's some of the elements that stuck out to me that I felt like I definitely still have room to improve on. Um, my favorite part of the book is that, and I've read this a lot on some of the reviews that people are sending, which is you don't have to be a parent. And I think there is a misconception potentially that you need to be a parent to get anything out of this. I was reading the book obviously as a parent, as a father, and a husband, but I'm also reading it from the standpoint that I'm an owner in a gym now with hundreds of other little kids that we take care of. I think there's some elements that we're going to get into in just a little bit that can be applied to many other things in life, not just, hey, as a parent, you can apply this. It's, hey, in your own life, you can apply this. But yeah, I mean, Tony's the author. He has the behind the scenes of it. So I'm gonna pass it over to him, kind of let him chat a little bit and go from there.
Cool. Thanks. Well, you mentioned like the owner side of the business, and I think if I didn't have this experience going through raising my son on the spectrum, I don't think I would have ever been a good owner, to say it bluntly. It taught me a lot about leadership, leading my family, leading the gym, that I wouldn't have otherwise if I didn't have this challenge, in air quotes, challenge of raising a son with, just differences. And so this book came about from our journey together. Basically, at 3.5 years old, we realized when Dylan got kicked out of his preschool class that he was on the autism spectrum and that we were going to have to give him just more attention and intention to help him out. And we also had my daughter, who's 2 years younger. And through having two kids, one on the spectrum, it taught us a lot about how we need to grow first in order to help both of them grow. So the spectrum mindset is really about how my mindset had to change first in order to help my kids change. And like I was saying, and you notice, it's like it helped me change the way I led in the gym, just the way I communicated in my relationships with people, all around made me just, I think, a better person. And that was really what I wanted to pass on to people with this book. So I wanted to resonate with parents, but I want it to reach anyone who wants to go through that self-improvement route and read a book that's hopefully inspiring and not too hard of a read, and help them out in their daily life.
I think what I liked about the book as well is and we're going to get into them, like the 10 elements that you created in the book, but also the little stories that kind of went with it. So it's very easy to, take one of the elements you might not fully understand, but then when it's compared and put next to a story that you can kind of connect to, even if you can't connect with having a kid on the spectrum, you can connect it to something in life. It made it a really easy read.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for, was like, all the elements are almost like their own mindsets in themselves. There's obviously a book called Growth Mindset, which is the first element that was really key in developing my different mindset. But there's, I'll just run through them real quick just to kind of read them off. There's growth, intention, acceptance, love, patience, presence, curiosity, abundance, adaptability, and persistence. So, on the surface, you're like, yeah, that sounds great to have a curious mindset or to have a patient mindset. But I think, as we'll talk about today, or as you might read in the book, you'll be like, oh, wow, I can really work on that. And I can see some tangible things about how I can make sure that I'm using that mindset or using that element a lot more in my life.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to go over each one just a little bit individually. So, kicking off number one, the growth. By definition, in the book that you wrote out, was a hunger for growth in a mind that expects to grow each day. And in the book, for those of you that are going to read it, this was the chapter of quote unquote rock bottom for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I talk about the story about how when Dylan was at his hardest to kind of parent, and it was the most frustrating part of our journey, you kind of wonder, like, is this the way it's going to be forever, right? When there's hard times, it's like, how long will hard times last? And I think that's probably the hardest thing about having a finite mindset is you don't realize that everything changes with effort, which is the basis of the book Mindset. So if you haven't read my book, read my book. But if you haven't read Mindset, read that book as well, because it's amazing in helping us realize that anything can be improved with effort and that nothing is stuck the way it is. So, kind of knowing that we had a long road ahead from where we were, we had to have that growth mindset first to know that change was possible and on the table. And just because you get a diagnosis of on the spectrum, there's a whole spectrum of possibilities within that, and you're not stuck in one certain spot, and you can grow across that spectrum.
where do you see that element showing up in our gym or in health and fitness in general?
Yeah, I mean, like when we have had a gym for over 11 years now, you can't decide anyone's destiny for them. Like, we've had so many people just blow your mind with their transformations in our gym, that to say, like, if someone comes in and says, I want to lose 50 pounds, and they truly have 50 pounds to lose, like, I'm not going to stand in the way in that. And I'm going to believe them 100% that they can do that, because I've seen it before. And it's so important for people to believe that truly anything is possible, as long as they have a long enough timeline. It's like that saying, like, I'll never lose because I'll never quit. Like, if you don't quit and you don't like back out of the game, then you really don't lose. So if you can just stay in the game and keep giving some kind of effort every day, and just show up as we say, you're going to keep growing. And that's really what the spectrum mindset is all about.
Yeah, I think it leads into the next one perfectly too, which is having an intention. So intention, you put a purpose, a set of values, and a focus for your life to have meaning and fulfillment. Um, Kind of leading in, right into what you just said. But the example that I wrote down from the book that, kind of hit me pretty hard, which is if you ask your kids what's most important to mom and dad, what would they say? And I think obviously that's coming from a parent, but I think that question could look, you know, whatever it needs to look like to draw some sort of intention to whatever you're trying to accomplish. So going back to growth, if it was growth, or sorry, going back to losing 50 pounds, if that was truly what you're trying to do, then you just alter the question.
Yeah. In the book, I talk about how Shannon and I finally got like on the same page with our intention to help Dylan, and it was funny because it actually happened like over a gym email where I finally had said that, hey, we have a son on the spectrum, and she was like, oh, I didn't know were going to tell the whole gym that. And so, what was a difficult conversation between us, a difficult kind of time or conflict, it was great because our secret in a way was out, and we were able to get on the same page with our intention. We were able to make our goals of growth for our son just known, and say, hey, this is where we are, and this is what we're going to do about it. And it got us on the same team. I want to encourage everyone that's in the gym to write your goal on the goal board. Grab a friend in a journey along your goal path. Like, when you can make your goals known and actually bring people onto your team with that goal, it's incredibly powerful. As Austin knows from getting hired, to like, people come to you and say, hey, I need a trainer for this specific race, for this specific accomplishment. And Austin's like, all right, like, I'm going to help you get to that goal. There's a lot of power in naming that goal and then bringing someone on board with you to accomplish that. And that comes through your intention.
Yeah, I love that. The next one, number three, is acceptance. An indescribable sense of peace from accepting who you are, where you are, and those around you. One of the examples I think it's obviously too good of an example not to share, but it's the story of Dylan's newfound group of friends or strangers, whatever you want to call them. The "Hey guys, I'm here too" story. I thought that was a good one.
Yeah, yeah, it was funny. And so like I struggled writing the book, like making sure everything had a specific timeline. So where it's like we're struggling, and then all of a sudden Dylan has this incredible moment in the third element where he's meeting people that he doesn't know. And so he was 2 years into training and supplements and growth, right? He was 2 years into his growth when this happened. But we go to the park, we see a couple kids hug each other because they knew each other, and then he talking to them, and then all the moms around him were like, "Oh my gosh, that's the cutest thing! Your son's so friendly and amazing." And I was like, "Wow, that's awesome." In my mind, I still had kind of like the finite mindset where I was like, that would have been scary for me, going out on a limb, and still even scary for me to talk to people that I don't know. But it showed me a lot in that we can accept kind of each other, right? We can accept everyone that walks into our doors of the gym, to be accepting of the person next to us. And most importantly is accepting of ourselves. I think when we uh, don't think of ourselves as worthy, we fail to invest in ourselves. So a lot of times, back to the gym example, we'll see people come into the gym and they want to change, but they don't kind of accept where they're at. They don't accept, hey, I've been, doing bad habits for 10 years and I need to change. And so sometimes it's like, look, you got to accept where you are. You're worthy of change, and we're gonna make this change happen with you.
Yeah, I was gonna mention something very similar. I think it's just important to know that like you and your health and your life are very much worth it, and you have to understand that first. And I think what our style of gym, which is very much, people based. We're not the
Mm-hmm.
gym where you come in with your AirPods on and you just hit the squat rack by yourself. Like there's people and friends and a community that you're going to meet, and to say that they're anything less than accepting would be a lie. So
Mm-hmm.
the next one, I love this chapter. So this one is love, a heart filled with love for everyone and gratitude for the preciousness of life. The example I have on this one is in the book, in this particular part of it, you were describing like the only way to truly battle hate is with love. You don't battle hate with hate. And the quote that I wrote down for this one is, "What do I love about them?" So it's what you were talking about is if there's someone that you maybe don't dislike, but there's something you dislike about them. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
focusing on that, it's, well, what do you love about that person? And it's pretty interesting to just make that little switch because it puts you in a better mood. One, when you're
Yeah.
thinking of hate or what you don't like about someone, you're just not in a good space typically, or mindset. And then if you can just shift it to like, well, actually, what do I love about them? It just puts you in a
Yeah.
different mood, a different spot. So yeah, I'll kind of hand you the mic here, but yeah, I really like that chapter.
Yeah, I think you said it. And like, so it could be applied to people. It could be applied to um, experiences. You can apply that mindset to really anything. It's like, what do I love about this? What do I love about this person? Or what can I love about this person, right? And love is not like, it doesn't have to be all gushy. It just has to, like, what do I appreciate? What can I appreciate about this thing that I'm currently not appreciating? What can I appreciate about this really hard workout that I am just wanting to end and go home and go lay back down, right? Um, like it could be on your way to the gym, like you're in a traffic jam and you're just like, I hate going to the gym. Like it is not fun. It's not worth it. I hit traffic every single time. What do I love about this? What can I be grateful for? Okay, it's time that I can put on a podcast like this one and grow. If you have family in the car, hey, this is time I can talk with my kids and have a conversation, right? So I think there's really gratitude to be found in everything if we look for it. So I'm really big on like gratitude journals and starting your day somehow writing down what you're thankful for, because I think that leads into the rest of your day, like finding special things about the things that really normally wouldn't, you would be like, oh no, there's no way I could find something good in it. It's like, no, I
Mm.
bet you can. You definitely can. You can find something good in everything.
It's just taking the time to do that, to actually
Yeah.
flip that little switch and, you know, make that a thing. Uh,
And yeah, I was just gonna say, like obviously, like to relate it to health and fitness, find the good in the things that are going to move you along to a healthier you, right? So yes, we're going to use gym examples and the hard workouts and hard schedules to make a gym workout even happen, but find the good in those things that align with a healthier you.
Number five, patience. Patience and perseverance that gets stronger through tough times. So the example I have on this one, each day you're writing your family's story was a quote that I wrote down. Basically, you're getting yourself encouraged almost to understand that you have the ability to grow your family each and every second, but have the patience to let it actually grow. I guess it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of the way I read that chapter and read that quote in general. Is like, um, and we're gonna get to this one in a little bit, but you also have to have the persistence to continue down that path. Not just, hey, I had a really good day. It's like, can I stack those really good days and those really good habits and those really good whatever, to and have the patience to do so, which is, I mean, in our field is it's the toughest thing to do.
Yes, for sure. I think one of the things that get in the way of our patience is just arbitrary deadlines and goals that we set for ourselves. We decide I'm going to lose 10 pounds because I have a wedding coming up. And so, 10 pounds in a month becomes the all or nothing goal. And when we fail at that goal because it was probably a unrealistic one to start with, that's when we get, beat down and like, I probably shouldn't even work out at all. Versus let's be patient in the process. Let's enjoy the process. And I'm just going to keep getting healthier every single day. If I make a certain weight or look a certain way by a certain day, great. But I'm not going to let it dictate my experience. And I won't discount all that, time and effort that I put in and say it was for nothing, right? Because that's what we do a lot of times. We'll go on a diet, we'll do a workout plan, we'll give it 3 months and we'll be like, well, I didn't hit that arbitrary goal, so it wasn't worth it all along. And it's like, no, you probably moved yourself towards a fitter you. You might have put off disease a little bit longer, gave yourself some more years to your life. You never know, right? You really never know in this field. But having patience and not kind of ending the game, you want to just keep the game going.
Right. Yeah, you might turn the dial. You might turn it down sometimes, turn it up sometimes, but you don't turn the dial off. All
Yeah, right, right.
right, number six, presence. So an ability to be fully present with everyone who you come into contact with. This story was, yeah, this is the one I probably struggle with the most, I think. Mostly as someone who has a very timed out day, a very
Mm-hmm.
structured, scheduled day. But the quote was actually from Mama Freza, and it was don't wear yourself out so much preparing for the party that you forget to be present for it. And it was you the week before Dylan's first birthday. I think it's Dylan's first birthday party,
Yeah.
where you're getting the house, ready for this spectacular 1-year-old birthday party. Um, so much so that most likely when the party came, you couldn't even focus on the party.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we do this a lot, and we have the saying "just show up," and the saying is great because it gets people to show up. But we also want to give it kind of like this added context to the meaning of the words "just show up." It's if you're going to be there, and don't just show up and go through the motions, but actually like bring your whole self to that moment, um, and not just like bring your body, like but bring everything because like if you're not there then like how would you ever remember that moment? I have another quote in the book like you can never relive the moment if you never live in the moment. You have to be there fully if you ever want to revisit that place in your memories. And you have two little girls and my kids are not so little anymore, but there's plenty of times where I was like, man, I wish I remember that experience more. And it was because, I was probably thinking about something else. I had too much stress on my mind from work and the gym, and I didn't allow myself to be fully present in that moment. So I mean, it's just something I remind myself in workouts almost every day. Like with, I'm probably at 3,000 workouts, even though Zen Planner shows different. It doesn't count it right. After 3,000 workouts, it gets it can get monotonous at times, right? Kind of doing the same things over again. But I really try to remind myself, like, be here, be here fully. Like, and when you feel pain in a workout, that's a great thing because it's reminding you that you're right here, and like kind of lean into like discomfort. It's like it's letting you know that you're there and you're alive, and enjoy it rather than try to get out of it or put your mind elsewhere.
I think I can obviously relate, but one of the examples in the book was you talked about, you know, people question you a lot of like, why do you guys go to Disney so much? And
Yeah.
obviously we get questioned about that too, but the way you spoke on that was obviously perfect. I think it's like it's a place where like there's almost no time or room for outside noise. It's
Yeah.
it's fast moving. There's tons of people that you can only be there. And
Yeah.
I think it was set up like that for a reason, but I just giggled at that because we went Sunday for just like a day trip, but
It's awesome.
it's our way to just really be there with the kids.
Yeah, and like Walt Disney said that when he was wanting to create the parks, was like, I want people to feel like they're in another world. And
Hmm.
I think you truly are when you go to some of these places. And for me, I wrote this in the book. It's my permission to be present. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of the times we don't give ourselves permission. We think we have to be thinking about the next thing or answering emails and getting back to people at work. But it's like, man, if you can give yourself permission to be present in the simplest of things with your kids, that is just the best.
Yeah. All right, seven, curiosity, an ability to be an endless listener and student, and have an imagination for what's possible. The example I had on this one, another good story was Dylan asking, or sorry, you asking Dylan, "What are you playing?" And his answer was the best. He's like, "You know."
Yeah, that was a time where we were learning piano together. And it was funny because our learning piano was me just trying to play piano, and I'm not musically inclined at all. So he would just watch me play and I would struggle, and I really got frustrated with it. But I kept my curiosity in those times. And then finally he gets on the piano and starts playing multiple songs from his video games that we were playing, like intro songs. And these were real songs, like on the radio and stuff. It wasn't just like beats. But I was just amazed, and I was like, wow, if I like didn't have any curiosity in that moment and I just like gave up on that moment, I would have never known that Dylan has a true gift of hearing a sound and then playing it right onto a piano, which is incredible. I think only a small percentage of people in the world can actually do that. And this was at a time where he basically had no musical training or anything, just pure ear. So, with curiosity, it's like, don't let your ego like get in the way, or don't let your assumptions get in the way of like an amazing experience like I almost did in that moment. I think a lot of times we assume how something's going to go, how an event's going to go, an experience is going to go, and we take ourselves out of it before it even started. So curiosity is really drop your ego, drop your assumptions, and more live in the moment. And of course, in health and fitness, we talk about how, ego is the enemy. And,
Mhm.
you want to be able to stay open to the possibilities of what you can do in your health and fitness. And then also like not being kind of open to others as well, right? Like allowing someone to teach you something, right? It might be a coach, it might be a fellow person in class that wants to give you a little piece of advice that they found helpful. Be open to everyone's advice. Doesn't mean you
Yeah.
have to use it, but it does mean you have to just kind of listen to it and just be curious enough
Yeah.
to take it.
I think there's a couple like good examples for our field. Like one, just having the curiosity to want to try something new like this. Like this style gym is not normal. It's not the Planet
Hmm.
Fitness that you walk into and all the machines tell you what to do. It's you literally have to come in here ready to listen and learn because we're telling you what to do each day, and it's different each day. And then
Yeah.
you have the conversations with people, and it's like, um, we have pull-ups today, and you'll hear the comments like, "Well, I'm never going to get a pull-up." And it's like, well, are you curious the steps to get a pull up? Because we're going to start with you not even touching the pull up bar. You're going to do a
Hmm.
banded lat pull down. And then from there, we're going to progress to this. And you'd be surprised, like, if you just stayed a little bit more open, a little bit more curious, and then obviously have the growth mindset, if you want to do it, you can definitely work there.
Yeah. That's awesome.
All right, number 8, abundance, and appreciation for everything that you have and all that is available to you. For this one, I just thought it was a cute story, but it was the um, the story that you started telling as Dylan started learning the ability to show emotion. You started being on the receiving end of these, you said, unexpected hugs, and then the praise that he would mimic, I guess from you guys, but also him understanding what praise meant. Basically, just like his way of dishing out love, like abundantly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing what we don't teach our kids, but they learn.
Yeah.
And I think that's really some of the big messages in that chapter was like we had to be overabundant with our love to our kids because Dylan didn't know affection when he was growing up. Just it wasn't just innate in him, and also like praise was another big one. So I tell the a story of Ariel praising him for going potty, and like how she just caught that. Like she caught how praise was important in our house, so she cheered him on for actually using the bathroom and not going in his pants,
I don't,
which is a
I
funny
don't
story.
Yeah, I don't know what date that video gets shared every year, but I always look forward to it.
Yeah, I think it needs a new sharing. I'll get it
Yeah.
out soon for a new one. But yeah, I think like just in abundance and having abundance mindset, I think that's not something totally foreign to our gym crowd. They've heard us talk about scarcity versus abundance mindsets. And basically it's saying like, look, like you are not going to run out of willpower. You actually will get more willpower by having willpower. You will
Mhm.
get more discipline by having more discipline. And then also in that same regard, if you have great discipline, you have great results in the gym, that's not less results for the person next to you. It's more likely that they're going to get stronger for being next to you, right? So to try to like out do people on the sugar WOD leaderboard, um, it's kind of the wrong way to think about it. You want to think about, hey, like let's all get our highest weights together, our fastest scores together, because ultimately your high score is making me better. It's not making me worse, and it's not taking a piece of my success away because out squatted me on this day.
Yeah, I love that. All right, number 9, adaptability. Flexibility to lose your assumptions and know you can change your mind for the better. The quote that I took from the book was, "You may not have control over the world and what happens, but you have control over your choices."
Cool. Yeah. I think like we always try to give ourselves illusions of control. I already mentioned like ego and assumptions, but they're there to kind of comfort us and, tell us we're safe. And it's funny because a lot of the biggest leaders have the biggest egos, but they're also the people that are afraid to get the most vulnerable because they're so afraid of protecting themselves with an illusion of control. And so I think like adaptability really is kind of just recognizing where you are and what things do you use to maintain an illusion of control. So for me, with like adaptability, you could look at it and be like, an adaptability or an adaptable person is someone that is just like always trying to be like others, right? And that's not the case. It's recognizing that you're not letting others affect you as much as others might be, because we're going to be affected by our surroundings and the people we're with more than we realize. So adaptability really is the opposite. It's being aware of the change created by being affected by certain things in your environment and knowing that you're the ultimate user of your experience, right? And so where like it comes in with like parenting is when you come home from a bit, a busy day at the gym, and your kids are like, I want this, I want this, I want this, and you're like, no, and
Yeah.
you just like are on your last like thread, as you would say, like this is it, like I got nothing left. It's like, well, yes, the context of you being worn out at work was brought home into another total new environment, and that didn't need to happen. You could have gave your presence and a new person, and adapted to that situation to give your family what they needed in that moment, right? So
Yeah.
it's really like, again, back to the like presence and being there, but also like locate yourself. Like, am I coming from a good place? Am I coming into this situation with gratitude? And I'm coming into it with like a positive mindset.
Yeah, I think for me, the that's one thing I've personally worked on the most. And I think we're very similar in the sense that we're more quiet and like to ourselves, but we work in a career that's like the total opposite of that. So
Yeah.
it's just funny. We're like we're giving, we're talking. It's all we do. Um, and for me, as someone who's like I'd like to kind of be to myself sometimes. At the end of the day, it's like my gas tank is running on E, and you
Hmm.
go home and your kids don't know that. Like they just want dad or mom or whoever. And so what I've had to work on, I know I've gotten significantly better at is just yeah, Coach Austin is on E, but Dad Austin needs to be at 100%. And I've had to kind of separate that because it was just I'm at E, not my job is at E today, but like now I'm 100% on this.
I love that. That's so good. And I think that like, you decide that like on the way home, right? So
Yeah,
as soon as like you get in the car from the gym, it's like, I got to decide this right now and do whatever you got to do on that 10-minute ride home to then to be that dad. And I love that analogy.
yeah. All right, last one. Persistence. A driving force.
Persistence.
Yeah, a driving force to show up and cast votes for the person you want to be and the life you want. Yeah. It's the shortest quote probably in the book, but I loved it. It just said, "I'm not perfect, but I'm persistent."
Yes. That's what the spectrum mindset is all about, is that really perfection isn't really attainable, but progress always is. And so, we're never perfectly, perfect people, but we are progressing people. I give an example of like how with Dylan in the book, we had to like give him a lot of supplements. We had to like crack fish oil capsules into his drinks. We had to put creams on his body every night, and it would have been really easy to go on vacation and forget all that stuff and say, hey, we're going to Disney for 3 days. Let's just enjoy ourselves. Let's let him eat like whatever he wants. Forget the supplements. And it was like, no, we got to be persistent. We got to look at every single chance to get him better as a chance that we need to take and take advantage of. So we never really let an opportunity slip by to move Dylan along his spectrum. And that compound interest, right? That compound effort of doing all those little things right and being persistent about it was really what made the change. And we say it all the time in health and fitness. It's like there is no magic supplement, there is no magic pill or protein shake that you can take. It is all about compound effort. Just trying to do as many things right in your life along a broad facets of, nutrition, workouts, sleep, stress, all hydration, all these things. If you can just do them right more than you do them wrong, like hopefully by a good margin and not just like 51-49, but do them right as much as you can and look at choices in isolation and pick the right choice in that moment, you are going to move. Like you look back on a year of that and it's like, wow, how did we get here? And that's how you got there.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that's obviously when you're looking at our landscape of the fitness landscape, it's like that is it. It's just it's being persistent. It doesn't mean you're going to hit every workout perfectly. It doesn't mean you're going to nail your nutrition every single day, but the closer you are to doing it good and the longer you do it good, the results are going to be great.
Yeah. It's we draw a lot of like similarities to even like finances and like wealth, like if you can let your money start to work for you, saving up like $10 a day doesn't seem like a lot, but over time and over 10 years of that, it's amazing what you can build, right? And that's the same thing with your health. It's amazing what you can build.
All right. Well, that is the 10 elements and little snippets from the book. The last thing I wanted to say just before we wrap it up or hand it back over to you, if you have anything, is just
Mhm.
tomorrow. I don't know if this will get out in time, but tomorrow it does.
Today, tomorrow,
Today,
yesterday.
tomorrow, Tony's going to be hosting a kind of meet and greet. Also, just going over sort of what we just went over, but even more so in regards to fitness and health, with examples from the book at the gym, FitTown, at 7 p.m. So you don't have to be a member. You can come hang out with us. Um, but yeah, I'm going to hand it back over to Tony. If you have anything else to wrap up with.
Cool. No, I just want to thank everybody that has read the book and given me feedback and support. If you guys can leave a review on Amazon, that is the best way to help the book reach more people, parents, and anyone that could use a mindset shift.
Cool. Thanks for listening. Hopefully, we'll be back on here soon with some more podcasts. All right. See you later.